What's going on, everyone? The NFL media just experienced their collective reality check moment, and honestly, it's been absolutely fascinating watching these so-called experts scramble to explain how they got everything so spectacularly wrong. You could practically hear the awkward silence spreading across every studio from coast to coast as analysts finally looked at the tape, actually studied the performances, and came to the uncomfortable realization that maybe Dillon Gabriel isn't the quarterback savior they've been desperately trying to sell us for months. And the way they're backtracking now, you'd think they just discovered some groundbreaking new concept instead of simply admitting what everyone watching with functioning eyes already knew weeks ago. For months now, the loudest voices in football media have been pounding their desks and selling this fairy tale narrative that Gabriel represented Cleveland's next golden-armed franchise quarterback. The analysts were quoting statistics like they meant something definitive, cherry-picking numbers that looked decent on paper while completely ignoring the context behind those numbers. The reporters were dropping exclusive updates that age worse than milk left out in summer heat. Everyone seemed absolutely convinced they'd discovered the next great NFL quarterback story, and they weren't about to let reality interfere with their predetermined narrative. But suddenly, something shifted dramatically. The lights came on. Reality finally crashed through the delusion. They actually watched the game film closely, examined the scoreboard honestly, and looked at each other with those haunted expressions of people who just realized they'd spent months hyping a quarterback whose most impressive skill is throwing 5-yard checkdowns like he's genuinely allergic to moving the chains or attacking defenses vertically. The whole house of cards came tumbling down spectacularly. Watching Dillon Gabriel play quarterback lately genuinely feels like watching someone attempt to set up complicated technology without any instructions or basic understanding of how things work. You can observe the effort happening, you can see the visible confusion in real time, and deep down you absolutely know nothing productive is actually connecting or functioning properly. The man drops back into the pocket, scans the field like he's trying to read a menu written in a foreign language he doesn't speak, and then delivers a short throw that takes so absurdly long to arrive that you could legitimately bake an entire cake in the meantime. Every single offensive drive feels like deja vu playing on an endless loop. First down brings hesitation and uncertainty. Second down brings a panic shuffle in the pocket. Third down brings another short throw that gains minimal yardage. Fourth down means punting yet again. And then the entire cycle repeats itself with depressing predictability. Yet for months and months, the media establishment insisted with absolute certainty that Gabriel was the next great hope for Cleveland's offense. They treated him like some Marvel superhero whose only documented superpower was extremely moderate consistency that rarely produced wins. They constantly told us his leadership qualities couldn't be properly measured through statistics or conventional analysis. Turns out leadership absolutely can be measured quite effectively. It's measured in 3-and-outs, failed fourth down conversions, and offensive drives that stall repeatedly before reaching midfield. So now, after weeks of stubborn denial and defending their previous positions, the NFL media apparatus is backpedaling faster than Gabriel scrambling backward in a collapsing pocket. They're suddenly on air pretending they always harbored serious concerns about his abilities. They're replaying clips of him missing wide open receivers like it represents some kind of shocking breaking news revelation. The exact same faces that confidently called him the definitive answer just weeks ago now look like they're desperately trying to delete their old tweets in real time while cameras are rolling. And as this media meltdown spreads across the industry, the Cleveland Browns quietly appear on the horizon like an unexpected soap opera subplot that absolutely nobody saw developing. Their season is hanging precariously by the thinnest thread imaginable. Their offensive scheme looks genuinely allergic to any form of creativity or innovation, and the fan base has reached that painfully familiar stage of grief where they start desperately Googling available quarterbacks who can actually throw the football competently. That's when someone in the media room finally whispers the name that changes everything. Not just any name either. Shedeur Sanders. Suddenly the entire room goes completely silent. Analysts pause mid-sentence like they've been frozen. The reporters stare blankly into space like they just unlocked some massive conspiracy. The dramatic insiders are already reaching for their phones to tweet something intentionally cryptic like big moves brewing in Cleveland with a mysterious eye emoji attached. Because deep down, everyone in that room knows the truth. If there's anyone genuinely built for this exact kind of pressure situation, it's absolutely Shedeur Sanders. He possesses the swagger, the accuracy, the remarkable composure under pressure. He plays quarterback like a surgeon performing delicate work while wearing designer sunglasses. While Gabriel is busy consistently overthrowing simple slant routes, Shedeur is out there threading absolute needles with the casual confidence of someone who already knows he's destined to be the headline story. The Browns organization, of course, publicly pretends they're carefully evaluating all available options with equal consideration, but you can smell the desperation wafting through every official statement. Their front office is pacing around like reality show producers, desperately trying to rescue a season's terrible ratings before cancellation becomes inevitable. They've witnessed more than enough of the Gabriel experiment, the endless short passes, the constant hesitations, the perpetual shrugging after another failed drive. They desperately need fireworks and explosive plays, not weak flickers of mediocre competence. His passing grade, according to advanced metrics, sits at an absolutely abysmal 47.6. That ranks dead last among all starting quarterbacks in the entire league. His completion percentage hovers around 59.9%, which places fourth worst among starters. But here's where the numbers become genuinely jaw-dropping and impossible to defend. His yards per attempt average just 4.9 yards. Also worst among every single starting quarterback, so somehow he's throwing the shortest passes of any quarterback while simultaneously maintaining the fourth worst completion percentage. That combination of conservative play calling and poor execution is almost impressive in how thoroughly terrible it is. So when whispers about Shedeur Sanders start growing progressively louder throughout media circles, the Cleveland fanbase reacts like they've just been informed that an actual superhero might join their struggling roster. And honestly, can anyone possibly blame them for that excitement? Shedeur is genuinely built for spectacle and big moments. The man moves with surgical precision, sees the entire field like he's reading sheet music he's performed 1,000 times, and throws with the kind of natural confidence that makes opposing defenders seriously reconsider their career choices. His composure under intense pressure isn't normal or human. It's absolutely cinematic in quality. The Browns front office starts daydreaming about exploding jersey sales, primetime television buzz, and potential redemption arc storylines. The NFL media starts practically drooling over the narrative possibilities. You can hear them mentally warming up their favorite cliches. Next generation leadership, born winner, Dion's legendary influence. The storylines write themselves effortlessly. And then right when the hype reaches absolute fever pitch levels, Cleveland drops an unexpected bomb on everyone. They announce that Shedeur is currently dealing with a back injury. Cue the immediate collective confusion across the entire football world. A back injury appearing completely out of nowhere with no reported incident, no video of any contact, no explanation of when or how this injury supposedly occurred. It feels suspicious to many observers. The fan base immediately splits into two distinct camps with completely opposite interpretations. Camp 1 accepts the injury report at face value, genuinely concerned about their potential franchise quarterback's health and recovery timeline. Camp 2 believes the Browns are playing elaborate NFL chess, using the injury designation as strategic misdirection. And honestly, Camp 2 might be onto something substantial, because if there's one thing the Cleveland Browns organization has absolutely mastered over recent years, it's creating drama disguised as legitimate strategy. The back injury announcement feels considerably less like straightforward medical news and substantially more like an intentional misdirection play. Something designed to keep the media guessing and speculating while the organization quietly rewires their entire offensive playbook around Shedeur's unique skill set. It represents the oldest trick in football politics and organizational gamesmanship. Hide your actual plan in plain sight. Announce a conveniently minor injury. Let the media chase endless rumors and theories. Then unleash the surprise when the timing becomes absolutely perfect for maximum impact. Meanwhile, the NFL media establishment eats up every morsel of speculation. The loud analyst pretends to express medical concern, discussing lingering tightness like he somehow earned a doctorate overnight. The confused reporter frantically scrolls through social media, attempting to piece together a coherent timeline that doesn't actually exist anywhere. And the overdramatic insider, bless his perpetually theatrical heart, is already strongly hinting that the Browns are definitely keeping something monumentally big under wraps. Just 1 month ago, Dillon Gabriel was universally considered the safe, reliable pick for Cleveland's quarterback position. Now he's become the cautionary tale that every analyst references to sound wise after the fact. His highlight reels have been transformed into blooper material for what went wrong segments. His name gets attached to every organizational failure discussion on sports talk programming. The irony is that Gabriel's downfall isn't even particularly dramatic or scandalous. It's just profoundly boring and disappointing. No major scandals, no public meltdowns, just consistently bad football disguised unconvincingly as veteran leadership. Meanwhile, Shedeur's mythology continues growing exponentially. Even while injured and not playing, he completely dominates the headlines and conversation. Every whisper about his rehabilitation progress, every cryptic social media post, every offhand comment from anyone remotely connected becomes instant front page news. The Browns' social media team posts a simple photo of their practice field, and fans immediately zoom in obsessively, searching for shadows that might prove he's secretly there working out. And that's precisely how you know the hype surrounding a player is absolutely real and authentic, because Shedeur doesn't even have to step on the field to completely win the narrative battle. He's become the powerful symbol of everything Cleveland's been desperately missing for years. Swagger, genuine composure, clear purpose. The city hasn't experienced that kind of electric quarterback energy since, well, potentially ever in their franchise history. While Gabriel continues tossing wobbly passes and making defensive excuses after poor performances, Shedeur's mere name is selling legitimate hope to a desperate fan base. The media naturally absolutely loves this potential redemption arc narrative. Suddenly flash equals authentic charisma. Suddenly swagger translates to command presence and leadership. It's genuinely incredible witnessing how rapidly reputations flip when organizational desperation reaches critical levels. And the Browns are absolutely desperate right now. They've spent literal years chasing franchise quarterbacks like people chase unreliable Wi-Fi signals throughout their house. One brief moment of hope and connection, followed by extended hours of crushing disappointment and disconnection. So when Shedeur's name emerged as a realistic possibility, you could almost hear the collective sigh of relief echoing throughout the entire organization and fan base. Even with this mysterious injury designation, he's already completely outshining the current starter in every meaningful way. The locker room believes in him, the passionate fans believe in him, even the analysts who seemingly can't predict weather accurately, let alone complex football outcomes, are starting to sound genuinely convinced about his potential. The loud analyst proclaims this potential move could completely reshape the entire AFC playoff landscape. The confused reporter nods so enthusiastically she nearly drops her carefully prepared notes. The overdramatic insider smirks knowingly and says, "Mark my words, something genuinely big is coming very soon." And maybe something significant actually is approaching, because behind all the mystery and speculation, the Browns genuinely seem to be building towards something meaningful. You can sense the excitement brewing throughout the organization, feel the quiet confidence that maybe, just maybe, they finally discovered the guy who can transform organizational chaos into productive offensive rhythm. The back injury might just represent the perfect smokescreen before the fireworks finally explode. And when that anticipated moment finally arrives, when Shedeur walks confidently onto that field in his Cleveland uniform, completely healthy, remarkably calm, absolutely ready for the moment, the NFL media is going to pretend they saw it coming all along. They'll discuss his perseverance at length, craft elaborate comeback story narratives, talk endlessly about his destiny, but we'll all know the actual truth. They didn't discover Shedeur Sanders. They stumbled directly into him after exhausting every other option. They spent months actively hyping Gabriel's transparent mediocrity until it backfired so catastrophically badly they had no choice but to completely reinvent reality just to save face and credibility. It's genuinely poetic when you think about it. The quarterback they initially overlooked becomes the savior they absolutely cannot stop praising. The quarterback they confidently crowned becomes the cautionary tale they quietly bury under routine roster adjustments. And when the Browns finally make everything official, when the injury miraculously heals right as Gabriel's confidence completely evaporates, you can absolutely guarantee the headlines will be purely cinematic. The comeback Cleveland didn't necessarily deserve, but definitely desperately needed. At that precise point, Gabriel will fade quietly into the background, becoming the NFL's version of that guy we once genuinely thought could throw at an elite level. The analysts will seamlessly move on to their next hot take. The insiders will boldly claim they identified the trend first, and the Browns will finally possess what they've been missing all along. A quarterback who doesn't flinch under pressure, doesn't fumble opportunities, doesn't fake composure he doesn't genuinely possess. And if the back injury story ever gets publicly exposed as an elaborate organizational cover-up, that makes the legend even better, because nothing says legend in the making quite like a secret plan hidden cleverly behind a fake rehabilitation schedule. So as this season continues rolling forward and the media keeps pretending to provide meaningful analysis, remember this fundamental truth: Dillon Gabriel was the supposedly safe choice that never actually delivered on any promises. Shedeur Sanders represents the wild card that might just completely rewrite the entire organizational playbook, and the Browns, after years of quarterback dysfunction, might finally have stumbled into their answer while the entire media world was busy looking somewhere else entirely. This story is far from finished, and what happens next could define this franchise for the next decade.